Hi friends, are you ready for a story? We're gonna go to a super magical place called Dragonberry Hollow, and we're gonna meet a little dragon who has a great big dream.
I bet you have. You know that feeling when you're trying something brand new? Maybe like learning to ride your bike and it feels all wobbly? Yeah. Well, guess what? The little dragon in our story today, he knows exactly what that feels like. And here he is. This is Dax. Now, Dax is a super cool young dragon. He can blow these tiny, sparkly flames, and he can hop so high. But there was one thing he dreamed about more than anything, and he just couldn't do it yet. He hadn't learned how to fly. Luckily, he had the best friends ever, Maya and Max, and they came up with this really fun game to help him. They'd throw handfuls of pretty flower petals up in the air, all fluttery and colorful, and Dax would try to catch them. It was a good way to practice flapping his wings, right? But Dax still felt a little bit nervous about, really flying. So one afternoon, Dax saw this one beautiful blue petal floating in the air, and he just decided, you know what, today is the day. He took a great big, deep breath, he found all his courage, and he was going to give flying a real, proper try. So he jumped, and he flapped his wings as hard as he could. And wow, for just one amazing, magical second, he was flying. Can you imagine? He felt the air hold him up and he thought, I'm doing it! I'm really, really doing it! But then, oh no, his wings started to feel a little wobbly. And whoosh, he plopped right down onto the soft, comfy grass. It was just a gentle thud, so he wasn't hurt. But he felt so embarrassed and sad, and that little blue petal he was chasing, it floated all the way down and landed right on his nose. Oh, poor Dax. He had tears in his eyes and he whispered, I can't do it. I'm just no good at it. He really felt like he was the only dragon in the whole wide world who couldn't fly. But was he alone? No way. The second he landed, his friends Maya and Max came running right over. They didn't laugh at him, of course not. They came to help him up and make sure he was okay. Maya gave him a little pat and said something really smart. She said nobody learns something on the very first try. And then she told him about when she learned to ride her bike and how she fell down lots and lots of times before she could do it. It's totally okay to fall down. That's actually how we get better. Then, Smarty Pants Maya had a fantastic idea. She said, instead of taking a big, scary jump, why not start with a little one? She pointed to this small grassy hill and said, let's start with small steps or maybe small flights. So up the little hill they went. Dax was still feeling a little bit scared, which is okay. But Max stood right next to him and said, don't worry. If you fall, we'll be right here to help you up. And hearing his friends cheer for him made Dax feel that little bit of courage start to grow again. Okay, so Dax remembered what to do. Let's do it with him. Ready? 1, spread your wings out really wide. 2, take a little hop. And 3, flap and glide. And with that, he took a brave little leap. And guess what? It worked. He did it. He wasn't flying way, way up high, but for a few amazing seconds, he was gliding, just floating through the air. And then he landed super safely on the grass. I did it! Kind of, Dax yelled. He was so happy his eyes were all sparkly. And you can bet Maya and Max were cheering so loud. That little tiny glide felt so, so good. It was like his confidence was a little seed that was starting to sprout. And now that he knew he could do it, he felt brave enough to try again. And then he tried again. And every single time he jumped from that little hill, he glided just a little bit farther. Or maybe his landing was a little bit softer. He was getting better. Wow, look at what an afternoon he had. So he started out with that little tumble, right? And he felt pretty sad. But then his friends helped him and he had his very first glide. That was so cool. And after that, he just kept practicing and practicing, getting stronger and stronger. So the sun started to go down and Dax was definitely tired, but he was also so happy. You know why? He realized he wasn't afraid to try anymore. He knew he wasn't a perfect flyer yet, but that was okay. The most important part was that he didn't give up.
And Dax learned a really big, important word that day. The word is perseverance. Can you say that? Per-sa-verance. It sounds big, but it just means something simple. You keep on trying. Even when something is hard, you just keep trying.
Wow, he really discovered a lot of things, didn't he? He learned that learning is a journey, not a big race to the finish line. He learned that making mistakes is okay. It's actually part of learning, and that every little try really counts. But I think the biggest discovery was that good friends can help you feel brave.
So, it's really important to remember what Dax learned. You don't just wake up one day and be amazing at something. All those big, awesome things, like flying high in the sky, are really just made up of lots and lots of small, brave little tries. And that's how Dax started to learn to fly. It's a great story to remind us that we can all be brave, can't we? Just like Dax. So, I have one last question for you. What new thing will you be brave enough to try? Even if you have to try and try and try again.